Hi, and a special welcome to you for this episode of Survival Fit Adventures, where we talk about all things preparedness, sustainability, and a more independent way of living. So today's video is a big one. It's how to build a 6-month food supply for 7 people. That might sound intimidating, but it's not, and I will break it down step by step. So let's get into this. With food prices going up, supply chains struggling, and weather events getting more extreme, now is the time to take control of your food security. Let's talk about why we would do such a thing. There are 3 big reasons that you need a long-term pantry today. And I'm going to show you some interesting things. Behind this door, there's some interesting things. We're going to get into that later. And I'm also going to show you what is in this and the method and also how this all works together as a system. So you're going to have to watch all of the different pieces on how they work for a 6-month or longer pantry. The first reason for building this we're going to talk about is natural disasters. So there's hurricanes, blizzards, wildfires, you can name a whole bunch more. They can leave you without access to stores for days or even weeks, depending on where you live. Number 2 is supply chain issues. And in 2020, we saw how fragile the system was, just a little bit. If one part fails, entire categories of products disappear from shelves. The number 3 reason is a big one. Whether it's inflation or job loss, food security means fewer worries when money gets tight. Imagine having 6 months of a food supply that you don't have to go spend money from your paycheck because you have it just ready to go. It is a great thing. It is great preparedness. And some people think that this is some sort of, hide in the basement, eat canned beans, right? It's not about that. This is a practical thing, and our ancestors, even 100 years ago, had root cellars, and they stored food when they could because they never knew exactly what was coming next. And now we have generations of people that live within 3 days of running out of food because they just get enough at the grocery store just to keep them going for those couple days or a week. So we need to plan differently. And like I said, this is about your independence. So let's keep going. Can I ask you a quick question? Is preparedness about fear, or is it about peace of mind and being responsible for our families? I tend to think it's a lot more about being responsible than it is about fear. Fear is a short-term stimulus, whereas responsibility and peace of mind are long-lasting pieces to your whole plan. And I think it is absolutely necessary when we live in the times that we live in. Send me a comment. What do you think about this topic? All right, so what exactly should you store for 7 people over 6 months? We're going to break it down into 3 essential groups. So number 1 group is non-perishable staples. So these are your foundation. There is carbohydrates and calories and comfort in these non-perishables. So that's the 3 C's, carbs, calories, and comfort, right? So this includes rice, buy it in bulk, long shelf life, very versatile. This is full of rice, and I will show you that on a little bit of a tour in a minute. There's beans, dry or canned, and just over there is a whole tote of beans. There's also beans right here. These are black-eyed peas in this sorter, which we're going to talk about rotation as well in a little bit. So beans, higher in protein and fiber. Oats and pasta. So they are cheap They are filling and they are great for breakfast and dinner. There are 2 totes right here full of oats, and there's a couple just behind the camera of pasta, and I will show you those as well. The next piece of the non-perishables are sitting right beside me, and then also in this other room, which I'll get to in a minute, but these are our canned goods sorters. So these help you rotate all of these cans so that you're always using the oldest product first. That makes sense, doesn't it? So when you take one out, the next one rolls forward. So as you go, you actually rotate these through. So then this one here would go over to this, because this here, if you can see, this is the label for this. This is where you pull from. So you can actually have multiple shelves that just keep rotating down this way. So not only do we have canned goods here, but there's also canned goods that are freeze-dried. And I wanted to talk about a couple things, because in the freeze-dried, we also have instant milk. So we've got bags of powdered milk, and then we've also got cans of powdered milk. And these cans store for up to 25 years unopened. So they're an amazing product. And then we also have the bags that we use for basically the short term, and we actually use that in a lot of baking. So it always gets rotated through, and we just keep going. So of the 3 essential groups, number 2 is protein sources. So we're going to talk about your peanut butters and nut butters, because they are calorie dense and long lasting. Canned meats are another great source of protein. There is tuna, there is chicken, sardines are a good one because they have high levels of fat that is good for you. There's also lentils. We have both dry lentils and also right here are canned lentils as well. So that is especially helpful if meat is not available. And don't forget about your vitamins and minerals. We've got several totes that hold vitamins and minerals that are in storage that we do use and rotate through, but they're just a little bit extra to use when we can't go to the store. You can also get a large amount of nutrients from dried fruit like dates or figs, banana chips. All of those things store for a long time and they taste great. Here's actually, I'm just gonna reach up here. These are banana slices, again, 25 years in this can. And then back in this room, we actually have the dried fruit, and I'll show you that in a minute. There's also supplemental powders, like protein powders. One great way to supplement your protein intake, and protein intake in a disaster is one of the hardest things to keep up, because protein is one of those things that's harder to store, right? You just can't keep meat at room temperature. Bad things happen to it. So protein powders in storage is a great way just to keep that protein level up day after day. Your muscles will thank you for it, and you'll continue to keep your muscle mass on even in an emergency. The biggest tip that I can give you with all of this stuff is build your pantry around the meals that you already eat, and then just scale that up. Does that make sense? Another item that I wanted to talk to you about on this episode is the storage of these items, right? Storage can make or break your pantry, and bad storage means wasted money and food. So here is how to store smarter. First of all, use airtight containers. So use food grade buckets, Mylar bags if you want to, oxygen absorbers for grains, rice, and beans. You can also use vacuum sealers. I choose not to, but that doesn't mean you can't. Shelving systems. Use vertical space. Look at this. It just keeps on going up both ways. We have built these, and I can show you a little bit how we did this. But these shelving systems, we built these relatively inexpensive. This is actually ripped in half 2x6 that I ripped with a table saw. And then this is just OSB. as the shelf. So these actually were very inexpensive, and they are modular where we can actually change the configuration quite easy with these shelves. But go up and make sure they're sturdy, because this right here, this weighs about 80 pounds, just this one tote. So these can get very heavy, and I'll show you a little bit more as we go. Use plastic bins for smaller items and label everything. You will see as we take this tour that every single item out here basically has a label on whatever it's stored in. So we've got oats here, down here we've got sugars, here we've got rice. I know exactly what's in that tote without having to open it. So, and I also want to talk about FIFO, first in and first out. The oldest items go in the front, newest go to the back, and you rotate regularly to avoid spoilage. And I will demonstrate that on video coming up. Organization turns your stockpile of food into a functional food system, and that's what this is all about. It's all the different pieces and how they work together, and how your organization of your storage makes all the difference. Isn't that cool? Here we are in the door that was just behind me. And this area is where we keep a lot of our home canned goods. And right now is where we're storing a lot of jars. But this is also where some of the things that I was talking about are stored. So we've got the dried fruit. We've got those dates, these are figs, and then we've got all of the different preserves back here. We've also got what I was talking about. There's peanut butter here, and there's a whole pile of things. I'll show you a little bit more of that in detail as we go. One thing as you are building your 6-month pantry, or however long you want to build it for, is don't forget about variety. We as human beings need variety for eating for a long time. You just can't eat the same food every day. You will lose interest, and it just won't be a great thing. You'll get burnout. So plan for flavors and texture. So here's what you do, is you store spices, bouillon cubes, tomato paste, baking powder, flour, salt, sugar, oils. You stock up ingredients for all of your favorite meals. Like think about chili, there's some down there, right? Soups, stews, pasta sauces, pancakes, and even chocolate chip cookies. Chocolate chip cookies are one of my favorites, and if I could do anything, I think I could live on them. How about you? So comfort foods matter, like coffee and tea, hard candy, shelf-stable snacks. These help boost morale during tough times. Does that make sense? If you are looking to build a large pantry like this, one of the biggest things to help you, I would say, is to make a menu. Make a meal menu. Make it on a spreadsheet, make it on a piece of paper, graph paper, notebook, or something like that, and build weekly menus based on what you store, what you have in your house. And what that does is it allows you to rotate through and allows you to really hone in on what you eat and what you should store. And that makes sense, I think. Include breakfast, lunches, dinners, and snacks. Also, and this is kind of a bonus tip area, is try out some pantry only. We call them storage meals that are only from storage. So this is nothing fresh from the store, nothing at all. It is all from storage, and you can make some amazing meals all from storage. So try that once a month. We used to do it once a week, just 100% from storage. It's a great way to test out your system and get everyone on board, because then they see that this is not a hard thing. It's actually quite easy and ordinary, and it can be fun because these meals become special. Now let's make this real. Here's your action plan to start your 6-month food supply. So step 1 is inventory what you have. Oh, I have some popcorn. Make sure you know exactly how much popcorn you have and try to estimate how much you go through in a week. Then you can extrapolate that out to a month, and then you can go for 6 months. Does that make sense? Look in your pantry, in your fridge, your freezers, what is already shelf stable. So step 2 is budget for this weekly. Don't break the bank, don't go into debt. Add $20 to $50 worth of shelf stable items per week if you can. Number 3 is track everything. Use a spreadsheet, use an app or a binder to keep track of what you have and then what you need. All right, so step 4 is buy in bulk and shop smart. So join warehouse clubs, look for bulk bins, sales, case lot deals. Step 5 is connect with others. There are online places like YouTube that you can learn a lot of these things, and I hope this video helps you that's watching this particularly. So there's things that you can help learn about, deals, way to store things, and that help us share knowledge, because we all were not born with this huge amount of knowledge in all of these things, and we may have grown up where this wasn't a normal practice. So it's up to us to learn these things to help our families. Remember, you don't need to do all of this in 1 week. Consistency over time is the key. This is going to be slightly difficult to try to show this all on video, as it is a fairly tight space, but you can see at the top is where we have all of our freeze-dried foods. The vertical shelving idea is very important. It helps us store a lot of food in a very small space. So if you can see these labels, we've got different grains that are labeled in these bottom levels. They're all flour or grain that has yet to be milled into flour. The next levels are our intermediate heavy stuff. So we've got pastas. We've got all sorts of baking things. Remember, we talked about chocolate chips, and then we've got our dry beans and lentils. And then we've got all of the different kinds of sugars and rice. So you can see each one of these holds 80 pounds of rice. And on the top level, we've got dry milk powder, ramen noodles, and oats. That's not too bad. And then on top is toilet paper, because everybody needs toilet paper. All right, so I took one of the rice totes down, put it on the floor so you can see what's inside. So a little bit on rotation. These are the ones that you would use first, and then you rotate from the back. So you keep moving them forward, and then the new ones that you buy from the store, you actually put at the bottom down there. Hope that makes sense. So you can see in this sugar that there's one missing. So it needs to be replaced and then rotated. Like I was talking about vertical storage, these are our can sorters that help us rotate all of our cans. So on here, everything from canned beans to chili to fruit to canned veggies and everything in between. And you can see all of these are labeled. Talked about flavorings, just for variety. So you've got your bouillons and gravy mixes. You've got your baking powders for different baked goods. And then you've got spices that are in reserve. You've got more salt. And you've got some coffee back there. Also, instant coffee, coffee packs, and teas. And then getting down, as I was showing you, we've got vitamins and we've got medications. So that's all part of a well-stocked pantry. Jello, pudding. This gets a little darker down here, but we've got pickling salt and table salt. And then over here, we also have more salt. As a bonus, we've also stored up things that help with food preparation or food preservation. And now into the cold room. And as you can see, here is where I was standing, talking about all the different foods like the peanut butters, and we've got canned chicken back there. You can even see here some hardtack that I've made myself and some tallow that I've rendered. That is garlic in honey, and this is apple butter from our own trees. And there you have it, your full roadmap to building a 6-month food supply for 7 people. This is how we've done it, but there is many other ways, and I hope this video gave you some ideas on best practices and what you can do to start preparing. It's all about thriving through any situation. If you found this episode helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. And please drop a comment below. That is so fun for me to read those and to reply to them, and I try to reply to every single one. If you are watching this right to the end, what is one food item that you'll never leave out of your pantry? We'll see you in the comments, and we'll see you next week.